Did you plan on fighting? Like when you were in college, were you like, I'm gonna fight, or
No,
how did it?
it just kind of fell in my lap. Honestly, I was that last year. I was at the Olympic Training Center right after I graduated. Was like, man, I'm trying to make the World Team Trials or Olympic Trials, and that was the tournament I lost to Surtis, and it just was like I was staying with Coach Manning. Coach Manning, man, he's just like an uncle to me, man.
Yeah.
It's like he brought me in, let me live with him, and train with Jordan and James for about 2 months, and
Really?
leading up to the last chance qualifier, you know.
Yeah.
And I just didn't do too well in that tournament before that, and I didn't get the call for the last chance. So I was just like, well, what am I gonna do? You know, I can either stick around and help here at Nebraska, or I can go home and be a school teacher. So I kind of just was like, I'm going home. You know, I'm just give it up. I'm just not wrestling, saying I'm gonna give it up. And so I was gonna do a wrestling camp with Coach Pritz. He had a camp out in South Dakota, and Beersford, South Dakota, with Coach Pack. Log wrestling, yeah.
Yep.
And so Coach Pack, him and my manager's in South Dakota as well. They kind of cool peoples, and so Pack let him know like, hey, he's gonna come out, and my manager's like, yeah, well, what does he think about MMA? And
Before he was manager.
Yeah, before he was managing
Right.
me, you know, and he's like, well, I don't think he's ever like dabbled or anything. And at that time, I never never did any MMA, no boxing, never put boxing gloves on, and so they actually gave me a call, had Bader on the phone, Ryan Bader, like, hey, you know, I wrestled, like we were all like passing the phone off, like talking to Dave. He's like, yeah, I manage Bader, I manage CB, Aaron Simpson, and you know, we'd like for you to come out and just see how you like it, you know. And so for me, it was like almost a recruit process again,
Yeah.
to where like I took a trip out to Arizona, see how it was, and I literally just fell in love with it, you know, because just that camaraderie, that competitive nature, like it's just hard to take a guy who have been competing their whole life and then just throw him into a classroom, or just throw him back into civilization. It's like, you know, it's going to be a harder transition for me. I felt like just to give up on the competition and competing than to start from scratch. And so me and Dave hit it off. We hit it off, and I wound up going to Arizona, and it was history from there. Bellator champion, about to be another world champion coming up soon. Let's keep this ball rolling.
What was it like your first 1 or 2 actual training sessions? Were you just learning just punching or just jiu-jitsu, or were you like strike to wrestling type stuff?
We're doing striking drills the first day. First day we're striking drills. We did a little bit of sparring.
How was that?
But it was different. You know, got knees, you got legs, you got arms flying at you, and ultimately somebody was trying to take my head off or kick me, or like, I'm like, this is definitely different, but I like it, you know. It went hand in hand with wrestling, you know. It was the collision. It was just like everything that I was used to. So the first couple practices, the first year or two, I was getting dogged out, you know, even like, because I always wanted to test myself, you know. I get in there and you can tell who's not that good and who's good, you know. And so me being a high caliber wrestler, I didn't feel like I was ever going to be an amateur. I never fought amateur. I jumped straight on to main cards at Access TV Legacy, where I was opening up for Holly Holmes' last fight outside of UFC, like 4 fights before she knocked Ronda out. You know, that was my debut, opening up the card for her. So I always knew like it was going to be no room for that amateur stage for me. Yeah. So I just kind of jumped in head first, you know, and it was good. You know, guys didn't take it lightly on me. You know, I got fed to the wolves, but also MMA is a sport where we are all just humble, at the end of the day, humble individuals. It's kind of like wrestling. You know, we all come from the same struggles, and we know this is a tough sport. So along with guys, they're fucking me up early on. Like, they were also bringing me along, making sure like I had the right tools to be able to do what I need to do, make the sacrifices and changes that I need to be where I'm at today, you know. So
Yeah.
having a good team for sure. You know, having guys around you that really care and motivate you, you know. And a team doesn't necessarily have to consist of 50 guys, you know. A team consists of one training partner, one coach, and, you know, a whole bunch of fucking ambition and motivation, you know. So that's a team, you know. A team is just people who want to see you succeed and do whatever they got to do to see you get to the next level, you know.
Compare the way you felt like the day of your first fight to like how the nerves and emotions like compared to like a wrestling match or a big wrestling match. Did you feel the same or was it different?
Well, the nerves are definitely different. Like it's like the competitive nature is still the same, you know. I'm not going in there to do anything but put on a good performance, you know, and hurt this guy, you know, at the end of the day. You know, because even in wrestling, when I was wrestling, I'm like, if I lose a fight or a match, I'm like, this fucker can't beat me in a fight, though. Like, you know, so it was always that competitive nature. But the difference between today, you know, and when I first started competing in MMA, for me is just being able to see things a little bit better, you know. It's almost like the perception of things, just the timing or even just the spacing was so hard to get, you know, because I'm so used to just touching and grabbing like to get a feel, as opposed to being here in the distance and get a feel to how to enter and everything like that. It was definitely a transition for me, but I really feel like that competitive nature really helped. Just that wrestling is what really helped, you know, and just that never say die attitude that's been instilled upon me from the sport. Like, it's just been a huge part of my success in the sport, you know, of MMA.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.